All right, guys, welcome in. I got my wonderful client here. Her name is Pam, and we just had a great conversation talking about relationship with food. But I wanted to bring her on today and talk about her success in the program, her weight loss, her mental shifts that she has with like food and fitness. Yeah, it's great to have you here, Pam.
I
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Pam. So just a few things that I wanted to ask you and for you to share with everybody else. But first, how did you find Meraki?
I actually found it when I was like scrolling through Instagram. And the thing that attracted me to it was the whole the spiel about busy women and trying to get fit. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. Because I could never really fit in like a workout regularly or I feel like the busyness, like work and like just family responsibilities and things like that, would hold me back from it.
Mm,
And I'm like, okay, how can I fit in just working on myself, just building myself up, working on my health and things like that.
hmm
But I mean, the program made it so that I could do it, like just the whole structure of it. Just having like just a to-do list that I'd be like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing today, but they're not, whatchamacallit, they're not difficult to follow. It's like right there. And all I have to do is like, oh, check it off. And it's kind of like how I do with like work and things like that. I have like a to-do list. I'm like, oh yeah, check that off. I could do those things. Like you don't, I like the fact that the program doesn't have you like start big, but like in steps,
Mm.
like baby steps. And then you just like slowly build on those blocks.
I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to come back and talk about like, the things you experienced in the program and your results. But going back, just like kind of bring us back in time, Pam. Like I know you said you had so
Hmm.
busy, it was hard to fit things in, like fit incorporating fitness in your busy career. Can you tell me a little
Yes.
bit more just like where you were with your health and fitness? Like what were your struggles before you met me?
Definitely my health and fitness was like all over the place. It was like
Mhm.
scattered. There wasn't like a game plan for it. If I had time for a walk, okay, I'll do it now. Or if I had time to like do some bicep curls with some bands, oh, I'll do that now in between emails and things like that.
Mhm.
So there wasn't really structure to it. It was just like whenever I had a few minutes, I'd put it in there.
Mhm.
And there wasn't really a lot of guidance. It was mostly just like, well, okay, I feel like it, let's do it.
Mhm.
And it wasn't working, but
Mhm.
I was because I would go through like a week of like, oh, being consistent with like, oh, let me do some bands. And then the following week would be like, oh, I can't do it this week. I have like so many things to do.
Mhm.
And even when it would come to like food and whatnot, I would like see these like flashes of like, oh, eat like this week or eat like that this week, do like a veggies week and things like that. Be like, let me try that. But it wouldn't stick.
Mhm.
And I would notice that like maybe I'd lose like a pound or two, but then it wouldn't stick.
It wouldn't stick. And
Yeah.
how long was this struggle going on for? What, like trying to lose the weight, trying to put in like effort, but not really reaching your goal weight? How long was this struggle going on for, Pam?
Oh, definitely throughout my 30s.
Mm,
As I like started to get older and become like more conscious of like how I looked and how I felt. And like to be honest, I didn't feel good because like my pant sizes like would start getting bigger. But I was just
mm,
like, huh, but why? I've like I was eating salad just last week, or I was like doing more walkings, but it just wouldn't stick.
I hear what,
Hmm.
but besides from like you mentioned like the clothes getting tighter, like it sounded like there may have been even like some fat gain like during that time.
It was.
How else has like this like weight gain like been affecting you during that time? What else did you notice being changed?
Definitely my mental health. Like I would just get down on myself about it. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I felt, and I would just be really self-conscious.
Hmm.
And so I would avoid wearing like things that were like form-fitting
Mm,
and things like that because I was always afraid of like, oh my, I would be judged because I would judge myself.
hmm,
And because the thing is that like I didn't, when I looked in the mirror, I was just like, "Ah, okay, like I wasn't happy with what I saw.
mm,
And I didn't feel good about myself. I was like self-conscious about
mm,
it.
mm.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was for some years, like some many years, like during that
Hmm.
time, and like you were actually like you mentioned, like you're trying different things, you would do workouts, you're putting in effort, but you just weren't able to see like the progress. That
Hmm.
must have been really frustrating.
It really was. I would be down on myself because it was I always thought, oh, it's me that's the problem, or it's me because I'm not doing this particular diet right. It's me because I'm not doing these workouts all the time. Like it's like the problem was me.
Mm. Mm.
Hmm.
And I can hear that, Pam. Like a lot of times that happens. Like when, I talk to people and they're like, I'm really struggling with my health and fitness. It circles back to them. They feel like it's them, they're blameless and it becomes like negativity,
Hmm.
a perpetual struggle, like negativity. So a lot of times, like it's actually the right strategy, right? Because I always have to say, like,
Yeah.
if we're, digging a cave, if we're digging it with a spoon, it's going to be painfully slow, Pam. Right. But if we're
Hmm.
not really to blame, it's also like the vehicle that you have to get towards your goal that's really important. You have to have the right vehicle.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And I wasn't.
Hmm.
Like I was just getting on whatever bus was there.
Exactly, right. Yep. So tell us a little bit more, just like your results in the program. I love to hear just like the things you've experienced, the differences and how you feel and things you notice, Pam.
The one thing that I've definitely noticed is that ever since I started the program, I the one thing that I've really enjoyed is just the fact that it's like accessible.
Mm,
It's not, it doesn't feel like it's rocket science and it doesn't feel so restrictive, which
mm,
was something that I would do to myself.
mm,
Just place a lot of restrictions on myself and just like the way that I thought about it when I would compare all the restrictions, like the all or nothing approach that I would put in myself and compared to Meraki was that with Meraki, at least there's like flexibility.
mm,
Um, like I could have a burger and not go down this rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, I messed up. I'm like, I held myself back again. But like just looking at the way that I would approach it now, it'd be like, oh, cool, I could have a burger, but I also have these workouts that I do.
mm.
And even if it's just like for an hour each day, and it's not even every day. It's
Yep.
like maybe like 3 times a week. I'm like, okay, this is something that I could manage.
Mm,
And just being able to have that where I don't feel like an epic failure each time, if I didn't complete a workout or if I had like a donut. I
mhm,
think that's definitely one of the ways that Meraki has helped me is that there's this like change, like a shift in relationship in how I approach food and eating,
mm.
where it wasn't so restrictive, because I realized that like having this like flexible dieting moves me forward.
Yep.
Whereas having all those restrictions that I placed on myself, like having these all or nothing approach that I would previously place on myself was the thing that was holding me back.
Mm. Yep.
And so
Mm,
being able just to have these tools of like, okay, like let's focus on like these workouts. They're not like workouts where I'd have to go to the gym for like a couple hours, but these are just like basic workouts that have helped. And I could do them at home.
mhm,
Like at the end of the day, I can do them at home.
mm.
And the fact that the program has given me like these like steps, like these are like minor steps just to build on, has helped me tremendously. Like just over the past couple of months, my self-confidence like started growing because I could see the differences in like my body size, including like when I would do like the progress photos, I'd be like, oh crap, there's a change.
Yeah.
And even just like how I fit into my clothes, like I'd be like, oh, it's like fitting better. And the really cool thing is that like even the people around me would notice, like my mom would notice, my aunts and uncles would notice, and they were like, oh my gosh, you look really good. What have you been doing? I'm like, I had a donut. Or like I'm like I just would tell them like diet and exercise
Yep.
and just seeing how I would relate to food and eating.
Mm.
So it's kind of like this thing about like eating smarter that really got to me. Like the whole message about like just like tracking
Yep.
what I'm eating instead of just like cutting. But it
Mhm.
was mostly just like I can eat these, but maybe have it in more moderation. But
Yep.
I can still enjoy those things and
Exactly.
not completely cut them out of my life, but more like, hey, I can have a boba, but I can have like half of it and then save the other half for tomorrow
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and still be okay. Like
Hmm.
it, like having a boba wasn't like the end of the world anymore. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh my gosh, be all end all. It'd be like, oh cool, I can have it. I like the
Mm.
taste. But after doing Meraki, it'd be like, hey, I can have it again tomorrow in
Yep.
like another half, and that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's great. We are just talking about it. Like, Pam was worried basically, like she had like a burger from like In-N-Out the last week, right? And like she's made so much improvements in terms of relationship with food. But we looked at it and she crushed it when it came to like the macros and like the calories. I'm like, if you eat that burger and you fit it in like what you did, you're still gonna keep losing weight. So that's a beautiful thing. Like I can hear from Pam, like going from, like she was mentioning, if I eat something, I feel like it's the end of the world, she'll be down on herself and it could sabotage like a person's entire progress. And I hear this countless times. Now
Hmm.
she's going in and out. Now she's enjoying boba. She's having these things and she feels not just like only physically, but like mentally much more aligned with the process. And I think that's so important, Pam.
Definitely. Like I know that before, putting restrictions on myself, it wasn't good for my mental health.
Hmm.
And that in turn like would affect all aspects of my overall health, even my physical health,
Hmm.
because I was like feeling down about it.
Yep.
I'd be like, well, if I have like this, like fine, I'll just have nuggets. It's not going to make a difference anyway.
Yep.
Because if I'm gaining
And
weight, like
sabotage starts
fine,
happening.
whatever. Yeah,
Yep.
it would happen. I would go down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And I think that's so key that you brought that up because the shifts happen internally before they actually
Hmm.
happen externally. So that's great. Pam, like I know there's some other great things. Like we were just talking about, how we can get you scaling your weight loss to like 30 pounds on this call. You're already down
Hmm.
15 pounds. Was that like probably more weight than you lost before the program?
It
Being down
actually
15 pounds?
was. It actually was. And it was just like just watching what I ate, but it was also like my movements. Like I would always hear this thing about like, oh, you need 10,000 steps every single day to lose weight. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting that because I'm only getting like six, I'm only getting like seven.
Mhm.
And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough.
Mm.
But the thing is, like when I started Meraki, I did start off at six and seven
Mhm.
because it was like what I could do at that time.
Mhm.
And just meeting, like I might not have made those steps each day.
Mhm.
But the thing is, I would feel like, okay, well, maybe I could do it tomorrow. And I would just add a little bit more each day, just add a little bit more each day.
Yep.
And eventually, those like extra steps, they build up to that 10,000 or to that eight or nine and things like that. And it was just that motivation of like, as long as I do just a little bit each day, just a
Mhm.
little bit each day.
Exactly.
And yeah, and just doing those little bits, they add up to like to big bits. Like you can do a little
100%.
bit more each time. And so
100%.
that was like something that I had to change my mindset on. Like because before, if I didn't hit like, oh, if I don't hit like that 10, it, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But with the program, it's like, okay, let's do six this week. And
Yep.
then it'd be like, okay, cool. And then I would like hit it. And then once I would hit it, be like, hey, maybe I could do a little bit more.
For sure.
And
Just like
so the
gradually.
mindset came from like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it to like, oh, to fail to like, hey, I could do just a little bit more. So I
Yep.
might not like hit that 8,000 mark today, but I could do a little bit more steps compared to yesterday. I can do just a little bit more, a little
Yep.
bit
For
more.
sure. For sure. And I know we touched on your gut health, like, and
Hmm.
like compare, like, relatively speaking, from before the program to now, like, you learn more about the gut health side of things. Tell us a little bit more, just
Yeah.
really briefly, like, just what you learned from me and like how it's improved overall.
Definitely it's improved. I mean, because like my gut health, like I have a sensitive gut. So
Hmm.
anytime I'd be under stress, I'd be irregular or like I would have like the gasiness and the bloating and things like that. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
And you wouldn't
But through
know
a rat,
exactly like how to actually make improvements to it before, right?
no, I didn't. Like I didn't know what to do about it. It
Mm-hmm.
would just like be there. And I was just like, I guess it is what it is, kind of
Mm-hmm.
an approach. But I think now that I've been learning a lot more about like how food works and things like that with Meraki, especially with like gut health, and now fully understanding that it is my second brain.
Yep.
Just learning from Adrian, like what what's good to put in it, like what methods can I try just to be more regular, and even just being able to watch. Oh wait, I'm not getting enough fiber that day. I think that's contributing to it too.
Yep.
Or even just having this conversation about like certain vegetables that
Mm-hmm.
can cause a lot of like gasiness and bloating. I'm like, oh wow.
Percent.
Because I was learning like, oh, I have to eat these things in order to lose weight,
Yep.
but not actually making that connection of, but it's also giving me um really bad gas and bloating.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like in my mind, I'm like, I have to eat these in order to lose the weight. But it didn't make me feel good.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just like the information, right? Like knowledge is
Yeah,
power. Like
it
when
really
we
is.
invest into the right knowledge, a lot of times we may be like
Hmm.
you're eating more vegetables because it's good for you, but we don't know the damage that could be happening. We're eating cruciferous greens and it's causing more
Hmm.
symptoms, and it just keeps becoming this perpetual struggle.
Yeah,
It affects our weight loss,
yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
I'm glad you learned a lot inside the program and you're still learning from me, Pam.
It
Yeah.
really does. Like just ha being able to just access that information has been incredibly helpful because I'm like, okay, I can feel this, what's going on. And then I can like refer to like the notes. I can refer to the videos that you've done before. I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. Like this is what's going on internally.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so like, yeah, so just watching the videos on the gut health was important for me. And I learned a lot from it,
I'm glad.
especially with like the things that I'm putting in my body do affect it. Not just like not just like weight gain or loss and things like that, but how my stomach's working.
100%. Yeah.
Hmm.
So Pam, like any final notes, any like anything you want to recommend for somebody that's maybe listening to this and they've gone through what you've gone through before. They're currently going through what you've gone through before. Like maybe they're having gut health issues, they're having weight loss struggles, they're feeling really stuck, just like yourself. Like they're trying so many different things, hoping something will stick on the wall, but they feel like it's already been months or even years and they're not seeing progress. What's your
Hmm.
advice for them, Pam?
Um, it doesn't help to try the program. I
Hmm.
mean, if the stuff that you've been doing before wasn't working, and you're probably wondering, well, what's another thing? What if it doesn't work either? But the difference between like Meraki is that like it builds on it built on the baby steps. Like it gives you that foundation to build on. It doesn't throw you in the deep end right away. Like it gives you the tools to actually like build to it gives you those hammer, it gives you those nails, it gives you the instructions.
Hmm.
Like it's not complicated like IKEA, like building IKEA furniture. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
like it's just the basics, like getting back to the basics.
Mm,
And I think that's really important.
having the foundations.
Just yeah, building a strong foundation
Yep.
and then just like adding to it. And
Mm,
then just giving also the mindset. Like like just rebuilding the mindset towards like food and dieting and exercise was something that I needed. And because you don't get those with like fad diets, you don't get those with like, oh, with like videos and things like that. You don't get that.
mhm,
And with Meraki, you do.
mm,
Because like there's also this focus on mental health. There's also this focus on like emotional health and how it affects like how you eat. Like we talked about emotional eating one time, and I was just like, wow, I do that too. But
mhm.
the other diets don't do that, or the other programs like that I've like seen or seen ads for don't do that at all. They're
Yeah.
mostly just focused on like the like the physical body, but there's not a lot of focus on like how are you feeling about it.
Mhm.
Um, or like even asking you about a background, like what have you tried before? Like how can we like how like what sets us apart?
Yep.
And the thing that I've noticed that what sets Meraki apart is that it builds you up from the inside out.
Mm,
And that's definitely something that I've appreciated about the program and like learning from Adrian about like sticking close and just joining in a community of others who had like the same struggles where there's support. There's like folks that have gone through the same things that you have, that you're not alone, that
yeah.
you're doing this as a team.
I'm really glad to hear it, Pam. Well, you've done
Hmm.
incredible, and today's call was exciting as well. Just talking about like your future goals and how we're going to get you there by summertime. But Pam, once again, it's nice to have you here. Thank you so much for the call. And if anybody has got value from this, got insight, if you guys want help, just reach out to me and send me the keyword tone. Besides that, welcome. Thank you again. Not welcome again. Thank you again, Pam, for coming on to this call, and it was great to have you here.
For sure. I love it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.